how do we produce sound in speech? So the first step is inhalation exhalation. Our diaphragm contracts and expands to allow air to enter in our lungs. That allows our rib cage and lungs to elevate, and then when we exhale air, our rib cage and lungs return back into their original position, and that pushes air out of the lungs and into the trachea. So during breathing, our vocal folds, which are a structure located within our larynx, around this area, they are opened to allow air to enter into our lungs, but when we are speaking, they are closed. So the structures that control the opening and closing of our vocal folds are called the arytenoid cartilages. They're located posterior to the vocal folds. And that is when we actually begin phonation, which is, as I said, our vocal folds close when we are speaking. At the same time, the air pressure forces them open, and then the pressure air then escapes out of our glottis, which is the opening between the vocal folds, and this creates a kind of suction due to the pressure gradient, and that brings them back together. So that's called abduction and adduction. And then as we are abducting and adducting our vocal folds, air continues to escape out of the glottis, which is why during speaking we exhale 90% of air and then inhale 10%. So abduction and adduction then creates vibration, which then becomes the sound of our voice. After that, we are able to manipulate that sound, and thus we create fundamental frequency or pitch. The two structures that deal with the manipulation of pitch are called the thyroid muscle, and also located within the larynx, and they loosen the vocal folds, which make them shorter and thicker, and that creates a low pitch. And then we have the cricothyroid muscle, which stretches the vocal folds and makes them longer and thinner and creates higher pitch. And then after all of that, we are finally able to create speech, which is when our structures, our respiratory structures, our articulators, phonation, all of those work together to then create speech sounds out of the expelled air.